Hey there, Aaron Wills again, bringing you another reaction video. I started this on Saturday, the 7th day of September in 2024 at 9:03 a.m. Along with welcoming you to my channel, allow me to thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe before sharing this video and turning the post notification bell on. Coffee. Slurping coffee. Sniffing. Sniffling, I guess. I have sinuses. Sinusi. Bill Nye the Sinusi. Let's go to youtube.com. If you watched yesterday's video, you know that I learned of a new author tuber that I hadn't heard of before. Her name is Claire Phrase, I believe. Why is this not working? There it goes. YouTube.com, enter. Here we go. YouTube.com. I don't know if I know her name for sure, so I'll search for her book. They'll tell me her name. Learn of her book. Alright, here we go. Alrighty, Root. Maybe here we go. They. This is the name of her book. They. Say. Oh. Not clearly. It is clear, I know that. There. There. See if her name just pops up. Nope. There. Phrase. Right, nothing popped up for her. Plot grid, that must be her. Insert, search. Not insert. Search. She'll come up with, she's kind of a, I don't know, strawberry blonde. With pretty eyes. This brings her up. They say that's her book. Those are her books. What was it called? Right with Claire. Right. With Claire. Let me just hit the, there she is. Right with Claire. Let's subscribe to her. And turn on the post notification bell. Subscribe. And the bell is on. Let's check out the Unity and the Old Faithful ones. See if they have any new interested to see if she has anything lately. Johnny, come lately. It's a new kid in town. It said she published her debut novel when she was 16. There's interesting. Let's see what she's got going on. What do we got here? Where's she at? I am subscribed with the post notification bell on. Let's go to playlists. I've seen all of them. And I've probably done all of them on here. No. Didn't do that one. How to hate a character? How do I write the first chapter? Yeah. You haven't done that. No. I actually checked on that one. What is this? What the hell is all this? Does anyone know what this is? I think I fucked up my computer. Let's see if I can get out of this for the next part. I think it's fucked up. I think my computer's fucked up. If it is, you can't hear this right now. You can't hear me talking, it's fucked up. Oh, there it goes. I got out of that. Let's go back to it and see what happens. Why? YouTube.com. It's just gonna have all that shit up there right now. Man, I can't get over the sniffles. Lord, let me go there. Something's fucked up. They want to go back to YouTube.com to my butt. I think my computer's fucked up. I don't know. I might just not be online. Here we go, 2 days ago, answering your writing questions. This is paraphrase. The one I was looking for. This is from just 2 days ago. 2 days ago. It sounds like I said 3 days ago, but it's just 2 days ago. Here she comes. Here she comes now, singing Monet, Monet.
Hello, everyone.
I got this thing buffering. Alright, here we go.
And welcome to my channel. If you are new around here, I like to do
Not to what? I should about to say I like to do fat guys. You're new around here, I like to do fat guys.
these little live streams that
What the hell? I paused it. It's not buffering.
where I just like hop on here for like 45 minutes and just have a cup of coffee and just make myself available to you if you have any writing questions. I treat this as like an informal Q&A where you can just hop into the comments and ask me anything about writing, about character development. If you're working on a project, just drop a question in the comments and I would be happy to chat about it. But it's super informal. I just hang out here, and if you have a question, I'll answer it. And if you don't have a question, then I will just hang out and work on my projects. If you hear a dog barking in the background, that's
buffering. And I'm suffering because of the buffering. Let's talk while she's buffering.
in focusing. Because it's like my brain shuts off whenever I hear my little dog barking.
You interrupted me.
I need to learn to focus.
You heard that. That was my roommate farting.
Hi, Steph. Thanks so much for hopping in. I'm so glad that you're here. Let me know if you have any writing questions. I'd be super happy to answer them. Oh, we got a question. Hi, Queenie. Thank you so much for coming in and for asking a question. Queenie asked, how do you manage a large cast of characters in a novel? So I don't have the experience with this that, say, like a high fantasy author might have. There are some people that write casts of characters that are just absolutely enormous and very hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No?
No.
I need to be fast real quick.
But in my series, I do have 4 main characters, and it's told from the point of view of each main character.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Buffering. I already said that. I'm suffering because it's buffering. I already said that. Everyone knows why this is always buffering. Please leave me a comment. I was doing this all day yesterday. Now apparently it's going to do it all day today. Sorry.
So, it varies greatly. Like a YA contemporary is going to be shorter. It'll probably be around 60,000 words. But you can look this up online, and they'll give you charts. Like Writer's Digest, I'm sure, has published resources on it and has made different comparison charts for all the different genres. Charlie asked, besides the protagonist and antagonist, how many main characters, supporting characters, secondary antagonists should a YA novel have? This also varies greatly on your genre. Obviously, you do need, as you said, a protagonist and an antagonist. You don't even necessarily need an antagonist. You just need some sort of antagonistic force. It varies greatly on the story that you're telling. Like if you're telling a romance story or a coming-of-age story about a girl who learns to fall in love for the first time and grows up, then you need one protagonist, and your antagonistic force is not necessarily an evil wizard, but the antagonistic force can be her own self-doubt or some sort of obstacle standing in the way of her and her love interest. It doesn't have to be like an antagonistic character. It can be. It depends on the book that you're writing. In my book, I have one or two main characters, and in the first book, and then that broadens to really four main characters. It's a group of 4 kids that goes on the adventure, and then one primary antagonist. But it really depends on the story that you're telling. If you are telling an epic fantasy quest about one guy who goes on a quest to find some sort of magical ornament and to save the day somehow, then that would be your one protagonist. And then the evil entity guarding the thing that the protagonist is trying to go in and discover would be the antagonist. So I can't really give you a solid answer to that question, but if you give me a little more information, maybe tell me what genre that you're writing in and the basic premise of your story, then I can give you a little bit more context for that. But I think that you also want to make sure that you create a world that feels full and that feels 3-dimensional. If you have a very complicated fantasy world, you don't want to just have like one protagonist and antagonist necessarily. Like you want to make sure you populate it with characters that make the world feel whole, but you also don't necessarily have to spend a ton of time on every single character. So it depends on your plot and depends on your story.
Sorry. Sinuses.
Queenie asked, do you write out outlines for the novels in journals or computers? Any tips on starting an outline? How much is too much or too little? Working on a romance, supernatural type novel. Awesome. So I write out my outlines for my books on computers. I primarily use Sheets like Google Sheets or Excel to do my outlining. I find it's way too difficult for me to use a journal when I'm trying to outline because things change so much and I will have to cross things out as I'm journaling, or I'll have to rip out pages and it becomes really messy. But what I like about Excel is that when I type something in, I can just delete what I've typed and then change things, and it's just a lot more forgiving. Another thing that I also like about Sheets in Excel is that I can have different sorry, I have the dog barking thing again. It's like my brain goes black. Like totally blank. I have different sheets.
I have Excel, but I've never used it, and I can't imagine I will. I don't know what it's for. But I do have Excel.
Within Excel, different tabs within the same major document, so I can have my rough draft outline, and then I can just copy paste it, and then I can have my little second draft outline, and then I can jump between my different iterations to keep them all in the same place. So I find that really helpful. So any tips on starting an outline? I always start very big picture, and then I work my way back. So I always start with 5 basic plot points. I start with my point of entry, which is the first moment in my story that kind of gets readers into the world. I then do my inciting incident, which is the point that my story really starts and that the conflict kicks off. I then do my midpoint, which is the point in the novel where everything shifts. it like the stakes are raised, the action changes. Um, Something like there's a really major plot point that changes the book in some way, like a big reversal, and then I figure out my climax, which is what happens like during the final climactic battle, and then I figure out my resolution is what happens at the end. So I start with that basic framework, and I like to think of story arcs as following a sort of arc shape. So it starts here, like kind of slow, and then as the action ramps up, it goes like this, and then it drops down. And like up here is where the climax is, and then it like the tension ramps up to the climax, and then you resolve it. So I kind of imagine that in my head and put my 5 favorite plot points on that arc, and then I can start populating it with scenes. Because then I have like my flag posts, and I know how to get from like that I need to get somehow from the inciting incident to the midpoint. And then in very tangible terms, I can start thinking about what I need to do in order to get characters from point A to point B. So I start really big, and then I narrow it down over time. I always start out being very forgiving with myself. I just try to get as many ideas out on the page as possible. I try not to be too judgy. Oftentimes what I do is I will take a whiteboard or something and write out the story and like draw that story arc. And in the whiteboard pen, I will write down like my point of entry over here, my inciting incident over here, and then I'll take post-it notes and I'll just start brainstorming scenes that could happen in the novel. Like maybe they don't happen, but
that's why I don't plot. That all sounds too difficult. Wouldn't know how to do that. I don't really have a, I just tell a story. In my first book, when I had it professionally edited, turns out I had a good character arc and a good plot arc on accident. I didn't plan out anyone's character arc or anyone's plot or the story's plot arc. But from the editor's letter to the author, I don't know if they're paid to do that every time, but he told me some very good things about the plot and the character arcs. I don't know what they are. I don't know what that is. I just accidentally did that. So, hopefully that's the same case in this novel that I'm working on now. I'd like to negative the develop. I don't have enough left, but because I'm an underwriter, I don't have enough story left to make it a novella. I'll have to get a novel at it. Let's see what else she has to spray.
But they could happen, and then I will like start sticking them on the giant whiteboard that I have in the general order that I need them to happen. And try not to be too judgy with my brain. Like sometimes if I write it down in a journal, or even if I type it on my computer in those really early stages, I almost feel like I'm committing to it, so I put a little bit too much pressure on myself. But if I'm writing it on Post-its and just sticking it as I go, then it takes a little bit of the pressure off, and that taking of the pressure off lets me be more creative and just get more excited and into the process. So I try to be super forgiving. I start really big and then narrow down over time. How much is too much or too little really depends on who you are as a writer and as a creator and how your mind works. I work really well with very detailed outlines, but there are a lot of writers who feel that their creativity has been completely tamped down on. Like they don't feel excited to write if they already know what's going to happen. If they
on that, I'm going to end it. I'll see you when I see you, A-Dub Club. Peace.